Hello, today we're going to talk about how to use the rest. One of the most difficult shots in the game, and a lot of people do struggle with the rest. Most ambidextrous players would rather use their opposite hand than use the rest. The shot is that difficult for certain people. Now, I'll just show you a few errors that may occur when people are using the rest, and then I'll show you how we rectify them. So, first off, the best way to practice using the rest is to have the cue ball on the blue spot. So remove the blue and replace it with the white, and then get the rest. Now, what tends to happen with the rest is you will have a low point and a high point. The high point is for topspin shots, and the low point is for mid to bottom cue ball shots. And this is the one that's most commonly used. This is the one that we would use most of the time for certain shots. So, when you're using the rest, what I tend to do is I tend to hold it like this and pin the rest down with my index finger, because on occasions what can happen, especially with a power shot, the rest head can move. So if you were to just lay the rest down and just leave it on the table with a slack grip there, then often the rest head would actually move on the shot, which would cause you to miss. So we don't want that to happen. So always try and pin the rest down slightly so that you get more control on the base of the rest. Now, when you get your cue, always line up to the shot. I tend to have the rest in a direct line with the cue ball and the object ball, no matter where they are on the table, what kind of an angle it is. I always try and have the rest in exactly the same line as the object ball, the cue ball, and then the rest in the line with them. That's how I tend to do it. Now, in terms of holding the rest, like I said, it has to be steady and it can't move on the shot. And then your cue, how I tend to hold my cue is kind of like a dart. So rather than the hand over the cue, I have my hand under it. And similar to that, like a dart, sort of like throwing a dart, but not the vertical angle, but more diagonally, like this. Because your elbow will point out like this. This is the position. So never have your hand over, always have it underneath like that. So we'll get down to play the shot, and the same as when you're playing a normal shot, preliminary address is on the cue ball. Now this is the erroneous way, and what tends to happen is people seem to think that the elbow position should be frozen and not move, and only the forearm extend out. But what will happen is the forearm will force the cue offline, and we need to try and combat that. And the way we do that is we let the cue go through in a more fluid motion. So we allow the elbow to follow the forearm like this kind of action. This is how we need to play the shot. So let's do it the wrong way first and see what the result is. Freeze the elbow. And that was the result. So to practice this, always place the cue ball on the blue spot, because that's kind of the common distance required to use the rest. So, like I said, a more fluid movement with the forearm and the elbow. And allow the cue to do the work. I've overshot that one. This is quite a good exercise for practicing the rest, because They're static shots, and they're the same kind of shots that you can practice time and time again. So the rest goes down in a straight line with the object and cue ball, pins down with your finger, and a fluid action with the elbow and forearm. And now for the green. Same shot again for the brown. Now, if anyone is struggling out there with using the rest, then this is the kind of exercise that would really benefit you in terms of getting used to playing those kind of shots. Because like I said before, the Baulk colours never change, they're in the same positions, and the blue spot is the same for the cue ball. Everything's in the same position, and you can practice those certain shots and getting through the ball straight, because it's all about that elbow. If that elbow's frozen, then that can cause error, because by the time the cue's going through the cue ball, that's when it starts to push the cue offline, and that's when you miss the shot. So having a more fluid elbow movement with your forearm prevents that from happening until much later, because the cue ball's already left the tip of the cue and it's already on that straight line path to pot the ball. So always remember that fluid movement with your elbow and your forearm, that kind of movement. So it's always following your forearm, not staying static like this, because as you can see by my hand, it's already going off to the side, which is the kind of movement we're trying to prevent. So always a fluid movement, all the time. So that's how you play the rest shot. Please try this, and please comment and let me know in the comments section how you're getting on with it and if it's benefiting you at all. Okay, thank you very much for watching. See you again. Bye.